Good morning. It's Bobby Dupre with the Bobby Dupre Show, presented to you each Thursday morning at 7 a.m. And of course, many of you are watching it on your televisions. Many of you are listening to it on 12:30 a.m. on your dial, along with the sister company. What is that? 105.3 in Simsport, Louisiana, part of the Delta Media.
And KSLO.
KSLO. And of course, more and more of you are watching it on your computers at home around the world. No matter where you are, the internet is there, and we are on it. And I want to welcome my sidekick, Mr. Andrew.
Morning.
And we have I think, an interesting program today. We have hopefully...
A lot of things.
And it's all good things. Somebody asked me the other day, do you all ever get into controversial type matters? I said, you know, I've been on the radio. I'm ending my 35th year. Never had to go that route yet. We're going to be ending our 10th year on television and internet, and never had to go there on live programs either. There's always a lot of good things. You just have to kind of snoop around. Is that what the word you use every now and then?
That's right, sneak around.
Sneak around. We try to visit as many events as we can. Many of you email us, text us messages, and we try to bring them to you as often as we possibly can. And it's a team effort. Sometimes I guess I don't realize just how much time I spend. As soon as I end taping this program today on Wednesday morning, I'll start on next week's project. And it ends just prior to the taping of the Wednesday morning program.
Taking photos on the drive here.
On the drive here. And on the drive, while I'm driving, I take sunsets.
Oh, careful
and I'm very careful about that. But and you're right, be careful. But anyhow, we try to make it interesting. We try to bring you things that maybe you haven't heard about. Maybe you are interested in maybe football. Let's talk a little bit about football today, since we had one of the best weekends we could have possibly had with our three major teams that we are familiar with. And of course, that's the LSU Tigers, that's the Raging Cajuns from Lafayette, Louisiana, and of course the Saints over in New Orleans. And all three winners, and I don't know which one was more interesting, the ending. I don't know if you happen to have seen, I was watching the UL game with 2 minutes.
The two ULs, ULM and ULL.
That's right, and we were with the ULL, the Raging Cajuns, and they had fallen behind by 11 points, 2 minutes to go, and some of the crowd started walking out.
Oh, a lot of people had give up. I mean, 11 points is a long road.
One lady that was interviewed on television that night, she had left, and all of a sudden when she walked by a place that they were tailgating, there was a large group there that hadn't gone into the game. That's how tailgating is.
Yeah, some people stay out.
Part of the group goes in and part stay out and make sure the food is still hot when they get back and the beer is cold. And she started hearing all this noise, so she walked over there. She said, "What happened?" They said, "They scored." And she took a step or two, and they scored.
Scored again. I mean, it was back to back.
Back to back. And ULL, Lafayette, Raging Cajuns, won the game 36-35. I mean, you just don't...
It was a good game. I watched the whole thing. You know, I don't normally get an opportunity to, but it was broadcast on, I guess it was CST. On the local cable.
Right. We
and I
want
was
to thank
watching
those
it.
folks.
Oh, yeah, I watched it the whole time, and it went 11 points, 2 minutes. I went, they pretty much finished. So I had the computer open, and I was reading the newspaper articles. Then I started noticing they was moving, you know, so I'd look up, and I'd read, and I'd look up, and all of a sudden I said, they're going to pull this out. They don't understand that they got to lose. You know, that's what happens when you got a team in unfamiliar ground. You know, they're doing so much better than they've ever done. It's all new to them. So learning how to win is new too. They were playing a weaker team, but you got still the same guys that played last year that went through a lot of adversity. And when you've been through adversity, you want to get down. So the new coach has got to instill the thing that adversity is just part of the game. You have to get past it. And I mean, they tremendous.
Coach Hudspeth.
Oh, he's good.
I tell you, he is a motivator. He almost cuts flips, and he's quick to correct them when they're making bad plays, and he's just as quick patting them on the back when they come off the field.
That's one of the greatest hires I've seen a small school do in years for the coaching. I mean, this guy was highly touted, thought to be the next coach in Mississippi State, depending on how things were going to pan out. And suddenly he's at UL. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked that they had got the deal with him. And I said, boy, they better get what they're going to get fast, because he's hot. He's a hot commodity.
Tuesday's paper had him just mentioned that they haven't asked permission to visit with him, and that's Ole Miss. And they need
That's a logical.
Coach. And Ole Miss is down now, I guess you could say, but they have a tradition there, and they just need
they got some
coach.
boosters.
And let's just hope we have a contract with Coach Hud that'll keep him here at least 3 years to build a good program,
A foundation, not just a winning season.
Because he was working with somebody else's team.
That's correct.
The recruits.
That's correct.
So when he's going to bring his own in, if he improves any, the Tigers in Baton Rouge better look
They'll
out.
have some trouble. And what about that coach in Baton Rouge? He did okay too, huh?
Oh, I tell you what. In fact, he's done so well that he's doing some ads for the turf grass that's grown in Louisiana. There's over 4,000 acres of turf grass that's grown, and it's a big industry and a great potential because of the fact that when they harvest this turf grass, it's onto the lawns so quick.
You cut under the turf and you get those big rolls of that grass.
And when you put it right away, it has a lot better chance to grow and take.
To root, yeah.
To root it up. So anyhow, he's advertising. He is working with Dr. Strain, our ag commissioner for the state of Louisiana, and the tourism department.
To promote the whole industry.
To promote the whole industry. So that little grass he ate, I guess he'll get a little pay, but I'm sure he's not looking for a whole lot. This is a good guy. He was criticized when he first came, and I heard it from a lot of my friends. They just didn't believe in him, probably because he's so low-keyed.
I thought the hire was good. I saw some questionable decisions in games, but you know, sometimes it's that staff too. There's certain people on the staff that have the power to make certain decisions. And I think he may have corrected one of his staffing issues this year, and I think that's why you're seeing such a big swing, is that maybe he had the wrong guy in one position. Correcting that one position is all it took for all the pieces to fall into place. I mean, it's impressive this year. I mean, go to Alabama and beat them at their own house.
9-6. This is a good baseball score.
It's 5:51 p.m., right? 5:51 p.m. is what I tell all my Alabama friends. They said, "What's that? 5:51 p.m." I said, "That's 9-6." Right? 5:51 is 9-6, right?
I guess
so. I sent them a little email. I say 5:51 p.m. That way they don't ever forget that we got them.
I'd rather we didn't have to play them again. Let's play them next year.
They had their chance. We went to their house. They got to say where it was, what time it was. They got to bring all their fans. They got to shoot the fireworks where they wanted it. They chose what end of the field. They did everything, and we still beat them. So that's enough.
I think that's enough. One time is enough.
How about Veterans Day? You want to talk about that?
Let's talk about the Saints. We didn't talk about the Saints.
That's right.
The Saints got whipped up bad. The score was a week before last.
Right. Against the Rams.
The Rams had not won a game, and they got beat 31-21. But the score is much closer than the game was.
The game
was terrible. I mean, and they had won the game before that 61 or 62 to nothing, or 7, I think 7. But it was from a great game to a flop, and then they came back. Did they have new uniforms on?
They had new old uniforms on. That's some of those throwbacks. That's the uniforms like Tom Dempsey and those guys wore in the early 70s.
They were so fresh looking.
That bright, thick gold stripe on the sleeve and all that. That was the colors and style like the old.
They mentioned something about it, but you can't catch all.
You remember when Dempsey kicked the longest field goal back at the old Tulane Stadium? That's the uniforms they wore at that time. But the one thing the Saints didn't do at all this year, and they finally did, was run the ball. You got to run a little bit no matter where you are.
It's the only way the quarterback can last.
That's the only way he can throw, is that you have to make them respect the run so they don't keep jumping on top of him. Once they ran, everything work. Just run the ball a little bit, Coach Payton. That's all you got to do. It's going to work itself out.
And anyhow, it's hard to believe that all three of our teams that we pull for.
Big wins.
Big wins, important wins. And, of course, this is another brand-new ball game this week. And LSU plays Western Kentucky. I have no idea.
The Hilltoppers, that's who the Cajuns are tied with to win their conference.
Okay, I thought I had heard.
They're a good team. They won the last 5 in a row, so they're a good team. They're not big school, but they're a good team.
Good small school.
Right. So the first quarter, LSU's going to have to stay on their toes because a little team like that don't know that they're supposed to lose. They're going to go get 2 or 3 touchdowns on you. Then you're going to have a dogfight, you know.
And UL plays
Arkansas State.
Arkansas State.
They go to Arkansas State to play. That's a tough game.
It is.
Tough game.
It's not as bad as Arkansas.
No. Oh no. Not Arkansas right now is hot.
Arkansas is grooming their whole season on one game. And that's going to be the LSU game. And that's the only game I'm going to see. I've got tickets promised to me by JE. And I'm going to finally use my motorhome. And we're going to tailgate.
Bring a blanket in case. Sometimes that wind gets cool
Well,
on that game.
most of the time, I don't go to the stadium.
You tailgate.
I tailgate.
That works.
Well, you know my back gives me problems when I stand.
It's a long walk.
It's a long walk. And so rather than, doing that, but I think this year I'm going to go. I'm feeling pretty good. So I think I will go to that game. And went to the Arkansas game last year.
At Arkansas.
At Arkansas. In fact, the Wagley family was really nice to us last year. They fed us and gave us a place to sit and relax before the game and again after the game.
KSLO will see you on the other side of 3. How's that?
15 minutes already?
Yeah.
And you didn't get one of your sponsors.
My co-host was wound up. He was talking away. We'll hit some in a little while.
Okay, let's get some right now.
Well, not right now. Not till the radio comes back.
Well, that's true. We try to.
You want to hit some photos?
Yeah, get a few
Let's
photos.
do that. We had a party at your house.
Last Thursday night.
Right.
And here.
In honor of Senator Albert Lee Gilroy.
Albert Lee Gilroy.
And there's Kelly Dupre.
Kelly.
And one of the Sebastians,
boys. Yep.
And we saw our friend Buzz Durio and Miss Sue Brignac.
Who we'll talk about
in a little while from Washington State Bank.
Washington State Bank.
And then we saw our other friends.
Leon Zarang and Floyd Darby and Roop in the back.
And I had to tease Mr. Floyd Darby because usually when I see him, he's with Mr. Don Mesh. And Mr. Don Mesh wasn't there that night. But it's just funny that when you see one or the other, those two guys are always going.
Yep, they're always together in politics.
Good morning, guys.
They love it. And
Chief
was there.
Kessinger.
And then, of course, Kelly Cormier, who was one of the provided the cooking.
Right.
Kelly's diner, and
Ray Bello.
And then Ray Bello, and they worked together on that project.
Former Mayor John Joseph.
And then Judge Bobby Brinkman is right there on the left, and former mayor, and Miss Green in the center. Really a nice
So the High
group.
Sheriff, Bobby J. Guidros, Senator Gilroy.
Senator Gilroy, and that's one of the Babineaus. Must be. Yeah, it is.
Some of the campaign workers were all cutting up.
Workers.
They came in one of the campaign cars. Look at that. Boy, that's nice how they do those shrink wraps, huh? On those cars for the politics and for advertising.
It's a lot of fun.
I want to buy a white truck and do that with LSU colors. So when I go to the games, I'll look good.
Well, it was the first time this young man wrapped one that was not white.
Yeah.
And look how nice
it came out. Very nice.
It came out very nice. He's very gifted.
And Stan Muller was there. And I saw Pat Morrow.
Pat Morrow.
And Mrs. Stan Muller, Miss Billy Joe, and the principal over at Port Barry, Principal Bill Duplechamp. And on the left, I saw Lionel Melanson. And Joe Charles on the right, councilman.
And in the center,
Senator
former
Armand
Senator
Brinkhouse.
Armand Brinkhouse.
And Joe Fred Gotcho was there.
And Kelly, talking with Kelly. Boy, they into it. And then here's our...
Some TV people.
On the left is our producer that's with us all the time, Mr. Mark. In the middle is Matt and his young daughter.
Yeah.
They had been to a function together, and she came, and she